Hello and welcome to Oink Time. Ben and Jen forgot to record an introduction to this episode. So, Sean, I'll be doing it. Please rate the podcast on iTunes 5 stars. The producer will be doing it. This week's guest is Conrad Greenleaf from Richard in Your Mind and his new act. And I guess the word for this week is music.
Yeah, I mean, isn't therapy expensive as well?
Therapy's really expensive, right?
Yeah, I think I can get like at least one free session.
You can get 10 free.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's with some.
Thank you, Sean.
It's with some fucking counsellor that's just out of uni.
That's actually what my friend was talking about, and he did. Yeah, so I didn't know you could get
twice.
that.
You can, but you got to be careful. I have had some people who were a bit strange when I got the free ones, but you can do them too.
I ended up counselling my counsellor. Like, it was this weird codependency.
That's
developed.
so you. Trying to teach people.
No, I didn't try to teach anyone. I'm just like, I feel like I'm smarter than the person that I sit across from.
See, that's
it's
your
just
first
it's fucking
mistake.
True. It's true. My doctor of 30 years, his biggest struggle has been finding someone that he thinks will match me intellectually. I got a message. I've had the same doctor for 30 years. And so
I've never had a regular doctor.
Oh, really?
I hear about other people who have like their doctor and like.
I highly recommend it.
I know. I just don't know who to. I moved around the inner west a lot. Like,
but when you were younger, like did you have a doctor when you were like a kid?
Yeah, I probably did.
Yeah.
I feel like my doctor now is my wife's doctor. So my wife is pregnant. Like, I'm going to become a dad.
Wow.
Literally in a few weeks.
Congratulations.
How does that feel?
It's amazing. I have a lot of different feelings going on.
Yeah,
that sounds
like, I'm
normal.
totally stoked, but it's like kind of, I could actually just get a text like, you got to come now,
Yeah. The baby could be born any minute.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully it'll be more on time. But yeah, I kind of feel like her doctor is my doctor now because I've gone to so many things there and she's so nice. And so,
Yeah, right.
Oh.
yeah. I've never actually seen a doctor as my doctor. Yeah.
I get like the family guilt because all my family end up going to one fucking doctor. And then if I don't want to go to that doctor, it's like, why don't you like this one? And we had a big argument once because there was one who was rude to me. Wasn't good. My family's very territorial about the doctors. It's fucked.
Really?
Yeah.
And so
fucked.
you had to go and you were forced to
so it was just like
continue
this big
seeing.
argument. My mum's like, she's nice. I'm like, she's not nice. She's a bitch. And then I liked Dr. Ho and my other sister didn't. And now I see Dr. Mabel. I'm very happy. And I got one of my sisters over to Dr. Mabel.
Can't you just see Dr. Ho and not tell anyone?
He's hard to get into. That's the thing. He's a good doctor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's hard to get into.
I love my doctor so much. One of my biggest fears is his because he's maybe mid-60s now. Like I said, 30 years of him dealing with my shit.
Of you, yeah.
When he's one of the few people in my life that can be like, dude, just fucking shut up. Like, stop worrying. And it's like, I will take his word as gospel. But he's fucking hilarious. He sent me a message confirming the appointment the other day, like going, this is your scheduled appointment for this doctor. I've lined it up, da-da-da-da. And then about 5 minutes later, I get a message going, I wonder if she has very much experience with fucked up Jew boys.
That would be who Ben is, Conrad.
Oh, man.
Woman of your dreams. So you said you got a lot of mixed feelings. Well, not mixed feelings in a negative way, but mixed feelings
not about that.
being
No, all good about being a dad. Like, just my life has been so crazy. Like, my own dad is not doing well and probably won't be around for much longer. And so it's kind of all happening at once. It's like this wonderful thing and this terrible thing.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, like, we were talking about, like, getting therapy and stuff. Like, I've been so mentally sort of resilient and stuff lately. But, like, a couple of years ago, I was just like having tantrums and like.
Do you feel like you have to be because like the people
know.
that you love are
I don't know
such...
if I've just like learnt to sort of like be zen about like.
We were talking
shit,
about this.
or I don't even know what it is. Like, but I'm just sort of
in
rolling
moments
with the
of
punches.
stress. Yeah, sometimes a part of you just goes into survival mode where you're like, all right, this crazy shit's happening. But I'm going to be a dad very soon, and this is also happening, and this is happening, so I'm just going to keep it together. Like, it's like an animal brain has kicked in where your logical brain can't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know.
I find that I freak out over the little things, but when the shit really hits the fan, there's some kind of weird calm that comes.
Yeah, totally.
Where there's a weird kind of like, it's almost like, do you guys have that feeling like time is kind of, you know how time is very malleable and like based on your perception, and how in moments of great stress, when say you've got like, you know, whatever, the ticking clock and you've got 3 minutes to cut the right wire, it's almost like time can distend.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Does that sound crazy?
No, of course.
Like when there's like a really extreme situation, it's like, okay, like, and it's not that time's distending, it's that your brain goes into this heavily ordered state where it's like, I have to do this, which will lead to that, which will lead to that. And it's like, you've got all the time in the world to do that.
Animal brain.
Yeah. There's been a few times, like, because I think everyone always wonders, like, what would I be like if the shit really hit the fan? Like if, you know, some fucking dude burst in with an AK and started fucking shooting everyone.
I don't think about that.
That's what I think about all the fucking time.
Jesus.
Really? You don't think about that?
No.
Man, there wasn't a deli in New York that I sat in where I didn't have my back, where I didn't face the door.
Yes, but you're paranoid.
I'm super paranoid about that stuff. But in the times of my life when really bad things have happened, there's this real sense of calm that comes over me. And, you know, it's like you got all the time in the fucking world. But then, you know, some guy on the bus is, you know, playing music through his tinny speaker. And it's like, fuck, like the fucking apocalypse.
Yeah, you get ragey.
Yeah.
Do you think, because like Ben and I obviously are comics, and a lot of the time people talk about how stress is what helps them write, or being angry or being like depressed will help them with their craft. Do you feel like any of that has an impact on you and music?
Yeah, like I don't know, like I've always been like weird with music. Like I go through phases of kind of doing heaps and then sort of not really doing much for a bit and then getting really focused and on, you know, in and out. But I made like, I don't even know if it's good, but I made this really like gentle, just sort of ambient synth album like a couple of years ago when I was really fucking stressed. Like shit was really bad with my dad. Like his partner is like kind of not coping with caring for him, and she's super difficult to like, you know, she's got like mental issues herself, and
It's a lot.
yeah, and you know, just work was hectic and just everything, and yeah, and then I sort of just every day just was kind of just sitting on the computer making this like relaxing sort of borderline new age music.
Yeah. It's like you just created what you needed to hear.
Exactly. Yeah. And I probably could have just like listened to Brian Eno or something instead. It always feels better when you've made something, you know?
Yeah.
Do you find performance cathartic? Like, do you lose yourself when you're performing?
Sometimes. Like, sometimes I don't. Like, some people like are really like performers, and like I don't know. Yeah, like if everything's going well and it feels good, I love it. But yeah, like sometimes like just little things bug me, like, you know, and it could be like anything. So yeah, sometimes I love it, and I've had like a couple amazing experiences in my life and stuff, but
Sometimes it's a job.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
When you say you've had a couple of amazing, like, you mean on stage?
Yeah.
Like where you kind of transcended, or you weren't there
Oh no,
anymore?
just like holy moly! Like I got to like I got to play with, you know, the band Cloud Control.
Yeah.
Back in 2011, I got to kind of play with them for a while, just filling in. And the last gig I did with them was like Splendor in the Grass on the main stage, and it was like,
Yeah, that'd be
it was kind of
crazy.
sad because it was like I'm never going to play to this many people in my own band. But that's, you know, I didn't have any like kind of pride, like, you know, I helped create this music or.
But you got to experience
But it
the
was
joy.
just like it was kind of almost just being like, wow, I can play good enough to be in a professional band that people like, even if it's not my band.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
just playing in front of that many people, I was like, wow, it feels incredible.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
you get the buzz and all the energy from everyone who's like, ah.
I'm always glad, like, in comedy that I've been wired to be someone who, like, maybe early on I had very big aspirations of, like, I want to be the guy on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, you know, and pretty early
It's
on.
the
like,
same for band
Yeah,
people.
of
They all
course.
think they or want to or think they're going to be like a rock star and stuff.
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
kind of slowly realize, like, no, that doesn't really happen. Like,
Well, I mean, I don't think some people. I don't think some people do realize. I think some people kind of either keep plowing on and they don't enjoy those moments because they've constantly got their eye fixed on the main goal, and this cool experience is just a
Yeah.
stepping stone to get to that.
I
And then
guess like for me, I've always like just enjoyed making music and and just showing it to your friends and like your friends who you love and consider to have good taste or something. If they like it, you're like, cool. That feels great. You know, just like that's kind of enough, you know?
Totally. That's,
And so, you know.
Did you always feel like that?
Yeah, totally. Like I made an album in high school and like I still kind of love it and still have friends who kind of love it. And it's like really silly electronic music and like I still make heaps of songs and just send them to friends and have like a little, me and, you know, Spod and Saya. Do you know those guys?
No.
So, Spod's like he's kind of a Sydney icon, but moved to Melbourne. But he's a very like special. You should look him up. You'd probably love him. He's hilarious and weird and stuff. And also an amazing video clip director. I'd say he's like kind of our Spike Jonze. Anyway, he's a good friend of mine. He was briefly in Richard in Your Mind. Oh, actually for a couple of years. And Saya, another friend. We have this group called Tri-State Mates, like a messenger group, and we all kind of chat and just send each other stuff and just that group. Us sending each other things and giving feedback. It's just lovely. You know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's what it should be. It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's the joy. It's doing it for the joy.
But
That's what we're all trying to retrain our brains to do. And you've achieved enlightenment, Conrad.
I think that's been lost a lot. I think everyone's so focused now on like the Netflix special or
not even.
This
They're
or
just
that
focused on the bullshit tweet that gets like.
Yeah, but that's a mean,
Like,
isn't that?
like-
But that's a means to an end, right? That's like, you know, if my
Maybe.
tweet goes viral, maybe I will become the person that everyone knows. But it's this weird thing of like, you know, I think people are pursuing a state of fame that doesn't even exist in the and cannot exist.
Doesn't
in the world
exist
anymore.
anymore.
Well, it
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
can never be another James Dean. You know, like that. You know that actor, the American Russian actor Anton Chekhov. He played. He was in
That's a Chekhov.
he was some young American actor that was
Not
he
Chekhov.
died in a
That's
died
a writer.
terrible way.
Was that the Star Trek guy who got squished by his own car?
Yeah,
that's so sad.
He fell out of his car while he was backing down the driveway and
I think he had it in neutral
Yeah.
and it rolled back and like
brutal.
squished him.
It's
And,
terrible.
but he was just kind of stuck there for ages and no one got him.
pinned
like,
against the gate and just died.
Yeah.
And you know, he was
Oh, God.
it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a kind of a similar story to the James Dean thing in the sense of like, you know, young guy poised at the beginning of his fucking career. He'd only made a few movies and he dies tragically young. But he will never attain that iconic status of James Dean only because we live in a world that's so saturated with celebrity and content that no one can ever penetrate that universally and that in that
Well, there'll never
monoculture
be another
way.
like Shakespeare. Or there'll never be another Elvis.
Well, there'll never be another
or-
Marilyn Monroe or any of like anyone that is just like that in the even if someone does penetrate and become that widely known, they will be forgotten straight away. They won't have that decades and decades long resonance that kind of, you know, goes through the ages. But it seems like everyone's still in a mode of trying to chase that level of fame or that, you know, that icon status. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I actually don't, like, I know who James Dean is, but I don't really know anything about him or I don't know.
No, but you know who he is.
Yeah, I know what he looks like from a poster, yeah.
But that's what I mean. There's like, you know, like I think there was a cutoff, like once the internet and everything became ubiquitous and we're just like bombarded with stuff, I don't think anyone can kind of be as, you know, iconically famous as they once were.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lot of the pursuit of art isn't for the sake of creating the art or the joy of creating the art. It's to get the fame.
Yeah, I guess everyone just does it for different reasons. Like, especially music's just endless and a head fuck, and you know, I guess I don't know.
Do you think it's a young thing as well? As you get older, it doesn't matter so much.
No, I know a lot of people that are older that need it more than fucking the young people because they're, you know, I've been doing this for a long fucking time, and if it doesn't work out, then it's been a whole, you know, it's been a shit show and it's been a waste of time. It's a weird kind of, maybe it's more prevalent in comedy. I think now that there's a massive comedy
I think
boom,
it's prevalent in music because I know people who, when I was younger, a lot of my friends were musicians and their hunger was very real, you know, and their intentions were real. It was like their whole thing was that they wanted to achieve ABC, you know, and it was different to what comedians are striving for, but they had a clear thing that they were going for.
Would either of you want to be famous?
No.
Like famous?
Fuck no. I worry about this podcast.
It's funny, like, I was actually, this is like, might sound really stupid, but I kind of would like to be like a talk show host, like.
That would be. I think that would be fucking.
It'd be a great job.
Mornings with Conrad.
Yeah, like a Conan kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
You know? Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to happen. I don't know how to make it happen, and
well, there's only it can only happen for like 4 people.
I don't have the ambition to like do anything about it. But like, you know, if I woke up and I was like, I'm like suddenly like this late night talk show host on TV, I'd probably be like, I'd be stoked. You know, I'd be okay with it.
I saw Colbert when I was in New York. Like I was in the studio audience. Yeah, I'm wearing the hat. There you go. That was fucking amazing watching him work. It was just like, I think he's the most talented entertainer alive right now. Like he just walked out and it was so effortless and it was so slick. And you realize like everything that it must have taken to get to
the
this.
hard work. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was just like he glided out and he did Q&A with the audience for a little while. And he was just so joyful. And he kind of bucks against that stereotype of the broken down, you know, old school entertainer that's been hosting the fucking show for ages. You know,
has he sort of shifted what he is? Because like I feel like he used to be kind of like a parody of a right winger, and now he's just kind of like a nice guy.
Well, no, now I mean he's just himself.
Yeah,
and I think he is a genuinely. I mean, you can never tell because you don't know the guy personally, but from everything that I've ever observed of him, he seems to be a genuinely beautiful human being.
I think it'd be horrible to imagine, like, just the energy it would involve of, like, people. I mean, I guess it depends how much you care about what people think. But if people listen to half the dumb shit I've done that's, like, recorded out there somewhere or, like, you know, scratch the surface, it's like, I don't know.
It's kind of scarier now, isn't it? Like, everyone can, like, dig up things.
It's like, I've buried that for me. I don't need you digging it up. Like, I've blacked out that period, you know. Don't tell me that it happened. Yeah.
I think the exhaustion would also be, like, you know, and we've seen it when we've done gigs with big comics, you know, that, and I think, you know, probably the same in music as well, where, you know, the people that really love that artist, you know, they have, like, an ownership of that person. And that person means something to them. Yeah. There's this kind of weird weight of like, I know you and you mean something to me. But it's like, you don't know them. You know the persona that they're playing. Yeah, it can really suck
to meet like heroes and stuff.
Yeah. But just that, like how exhausting that must be to be faced, you know, with people that kind of want a bit of you.
Yeah.
You know, like when we were opening for Stanhope last year, you know, I was standing up the front with, do you know Doug Stanhope?
I actually watched both of your guys stand up on the internet today in preparation for this. So I watched there's one where you're kind of, there's like a heckler and you really rip into it.
Oh, that was that gig?
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed both of
thanks,
you
man.
guys' stuff. And you're incredible at accents.
That stuff's like so, I was about to say, it's like pushing 5 years ago, but thanks.
But that gig, like, you know, and Stanhope, like, really means something to the people that love him, you know.
Yeah, I don't actually know who he is.
He's brilliant. And he's, you know, he's very profound and philosophical and, you know, he's got an amazing...
He's funny.
And he's got an amazing ability to articulate complex issues in just the most perfect, you know, unimpeachable way where it's like you can't argue with the logic. So he means a lot to people. Yeah. And I was standing at the front of the theatre while he was smoking a cigarette and just people would come up with this level of, and I've done it when I've met people that I admire where it's like, if I just say the right thing, we'll be friends.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, get away from me. Like,
I actually feel like I had a moment like that once with, do you know the band Sonny and the Sunsets? Like, I love them. Like, they're not, like, huge or anything.
Yeah.
And, like, but yeah, like, the first time I saw them, I was just super drunk. And, like, I told all my friends, like, how much I love them and how he's such a genius and all this. And they were like, talk to him afterwards. And I kind of, you know, was just drunk and basically quoted his own lyrics back at him. You know? And, like, and he was like, yeah, like, cool. You know? Yeah.
But, I completely fanned out in front of my favorite author one time, like to the point where he was literally like backing away. Like, okay, man, like I really had that like sweaty kind of shaky, like, and that real kind of, if I just say the right thing.
I feel like I do that to Robin Williams.
Yeah, but that's Robin Williams.
He showed
He's like
up.
super famous though, so like
Yeah, he's still, but he showed up at a gig in the Cross, and I remember a friend messaged me and Madeline actually showed up, and all the comics were like upstairs in this other room. This comedy room doesn't exist anymore, but we were upstairs, and he came up, and he was there with like that actor from Lord of the Rings.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about him.
Come on.
And like everyone was like, Elijah Wood! And I was like, hi. And then Robin Williams was there, and I literally was like, hi, it's nice to meet, like shaking hands. Like I was like, like about to cry. I was just like, I love you. And I think I just freaked him out.
Oh, I imagine you would get
that would
used
have
to
been
it.
nice. Though.
And they're like, this is Elijah. I was like, I didn't fucking care about Elijah.
I don't know. It's like you almost like default into this sense of like you've got this audience with some kind of royalty or deity or something, and like I don't know, like I can't relax if there's someone I care about. There's other people I've met, there was this one time I got a call. It was one of the strangest moments of my life. I was like hungover and I got a phone call at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hello, and it's this American voice goes, hey, is this Ben? I'm like, yeah, who's this? And he goes, this is gonna sound weird, but this is Kevin Smith. And it was Kevin Smith, the director, who was in Sydney, whose manager was the manager of a comedian that I know, and Kevin had asked his manager who could get him weed while he was in Sydney, and this fucking like famous director's calling me to get him, and I ended up going to his apartment, and we're like coning on, and like having this
with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Wow.
We spent like 2 days together, just getting fucked up, and like walking the streets of Sydney and talking shit, and. Like, to be fair, there was a moment, like, halfway through it was like, whoa, this is pretty weird. Like, I'm getting high with Kevin Smith. But I'm not a Kevin Smith guy on any level. So there was no, like...
I feel the same way with music, too. Like, it's not... you don't lose it about the fame. It's like, it's just how much you're obsessed.
How much it means to you.
Like how much of a genius you think they are.
Yeah, exactly. That author that I was telling you about,
Yeah.
there's probably, like, maybe 1 million people in the whole world that even know his work. But he changed my whole reality. So meeting him was like unfucking believable. But he could walk down the street and no one would know who he is.
Yeah.
Conversely, every fucking 30 seconds when I was walking down the street with Kevin Smith, someone was like, what the fuck? Like freaking out. But if the guy doesn't mean anything to you, it doesn't matter how famous he is.
Yeah.
I met what's his name? What's that wrestler that wears the fucking weird leather mask?
Oh, I know.
Mankind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the beach with Mankind one time.
Why did you go to the beach with Mankind?
Well, he was with Brendan Burns, my dear friend, and we all went to the beach together. And it was a similar thing. Like, I don't know who the fuck... I've never watched wrestling in my fucking life.
Brendan Burns,
and Mankind. He was really sweet. But it was a similar thing. And I think, like, when you've attained a level of fame where you're walking down the street and people are freaking out, you actually appreciate someone that's like, wait, I don't know who you are. I served Christina Aguilera in a Starbucks in 2002, and I didn't know who the fuck she was, so I was as rude to her as I would have been to anyone because I hated everyone when I worked at Starbucks. I would like to think that she was grateful for the interaction, because how often could Christina Aguilera walk into a Starbucks and have the staff just be like, what do you want?
Yeah, she was grateful. Thank God.
Hateful little man.
Yay. I'm so happy.
I mean, 2 seconds later, paparazzi ran in and they're fucking, taking photos of it and everything. I would think that you would be grateful
you're a
for just...
great man,
I am a
man.
great man. And
I think some famous people love the attention and love
So do I.
all that
It would
stuff. I
be-
think it's different for everyone. Like,
I think some of them accidentally go to the places where there's like 1 million paparazzi. every time.
yuck, I can't imagine anything worse. When you first got into music, did you have any aspirations to be like fucking the band? Or was it just about
The
making
joy.
the
Well,
music and the joy?
I mean, I first got into music, like really young. Like, I think just like, I don't know, like, I don't think you think about like kind of success when you're a little kid, really.
No, but when
you
you're
just
a bit
kind of like
older.
want to learn to play an instrument to like.
But when you're a bit older, right, there has to be some
it's
ego
different
in
with
it.
comedy.
Cut to 20.
I definitely
at
think
20, there
I
had to be a
definitely
part of
think,
you that was like, I want people to hear this.
Oh, totally. And
Yeah.
I even think I briefly like thought like that we would be like a successful band and stuff,
Briefly.
Yeah.
I know, I love that you're like, for a minute, it's like, really?
Yeah. But no, because like, for a little while there was kind of like an upward trajectory and, we
Me and Mads would go to the gigs all the time.
Yeah, like
We would.
We won the Triple J Unearthed New South Wales and played at the Big Day Out, and we'd only been together for like a few months or something. It was
that's
kind of
a curse, don't you find?
Totally.
Too much fucking heat too early on.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, I kind of feel like the band got really good kind of around the like fourth album when sort of I feel like, you know, in Australia, a lot of people had sort of maybe lost interest or something. But
Australia likes new.
You know, we got new fans. But yeah, exactly. Like I kind of think music obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, but in general, you've kind of just got to be really good straight away when you're young and you look great and you're just nailing it, and then it'll all work.
Yeah, it's
Which is so likely. Like, just nail it when you're young
pretty
and
rare.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But some people are fucking just freak talented and confident and, you know.
The part that I can never get my head around is the it's not even the talent or the aptitude, it's the
self-belief.
That I can deal with because you're 20 and you think you're fucking the messiah. To me, it's the people that can deal with the fame in a really mature and organic. Like, have you ever seen clips of the Beatles when they're doing press conferences?
Yeah, they're so charming and
that
funny.
level of fame did not exist up until that moment. And all of a sudden, it's like these dudes, they're in their early 20s, and within a year, they can't get off a plane without millions of and they're sitting at press conferences just like being
so much
so
harder
funny.
As a solo person though, like they all kind of had each other to bounce off and, you know, talk to. And
yeah, I just don't know
like Elvis, for example, like he went like
mad,
batshit crazy. And
yeah.
was like,
there might be something to that, right? It seems like all the solo people tend to, like, the fame is just too much. Because you're right, it's all on you.
Yeah.
I saw a clip
Joni
of
Mitchell.
But the Beatles pulled back from that because even though they all had each other, they stepped back and they stopped doing any live shows for like the last 5 hours.
No, but that was because they were making weird Sgt. Pepper's music that couldn't be replicated on stage. That's the reason they stopped doing live gigs.
No, it was because they couldn't hear their own instruments.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
They didn't have like proper sound shit back then. Like bands, they didn't have like those big speakers and foldbacks. Like they were just using amps and like everything.
There's that
was
really famous
bands weren't very loud.
Gig, where that was just the sound of screaming the whole time. when you play music, because like music's one of the things. Like I wish that I'd learned to play an instrument growing up. Like I always wanted to play the piano. And then when I was like 7 or whatever, my mum got me piano lessons, and because I didn't play Beethoven first time amazingly, like and just gave it up.
Nothing changes. Like we're the same as we were when we were little.
So fucking irritating. But like, what do you like? Does your head go to a different place when you're playing music, or like
just doing it at home?
Yeah, like just like do you? Like,
yeah, it's relaxing, I guess.
No, but I'm like when I'm doing stand up and I'm like really hitting it, it's like I am not there anymore.
It's an endorphin rush, but I would never describe it as relaxing.
Are you just talking about flow?
Yeah, I'm talking about but I imagine with music it's different because you're kind of.
Well, I think like what I love, like the thing that where I, you know, get in the zone or whatever is like recording and kind of creating and writing, and when you're kind of layering things and you're like, oh, I'm making a really great song, you know.
Magic's happening.
Is that how you do it generally when you're writing songs? Are you doing it layer by layer and then literally doing it digitally in a program?
Like sometimes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I write in lots of different ways with starting at different points with different things. But so, a lot of the time it's just layering up something.
I don't know where I was going with that. I shouldn't have joined the conversation.
No, I think it's good. It's like, well, because as comics, you write different ways. Like heaps of people will sit at a computer and literally write out jokes.
How the hell do people do that?
I don't know because it's definitely not my style.
It's definitely not mine.
I imagine, like, I'm obviously not a comic, but I imagine, like, do you guys ever you're out with friends and drunk and chatting and you just say something really hilarious and you're like, keep that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you write down ideas.
For me, that's when the best stuff comes. It's like when I'm talking to friends, or for me more and more these days, it's just getting on stage with an idea of what I want to talk about and just hoping that I somehow back myself into a corner enough that I have to figure out in the moment how it's funny. And then it kind of, in a weird way, it returns back. Because I think all artistic pursuit, it's like you're trying to get back to that place you were as a kid, where you're just creating for the joy of creating and you're not creating for a result. You know, like...
Oh, there is something incredibly satisfying about like doing a really fun, like I did Wollongong on the weekend, which if someone was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do Wollongong when you're like comfortable as a comedian? Be like, no. But when I did it, the joy of feeling like I was going to sound so fucking wanky, but like connecting with the audience was so satisfying.
And it's like the payoff for like, you know, the affirmation of like something you thought you made something worthwhile and you actually did.
Every time I love it. Like every time I'm like, oh, that's right, I can do this.
Well, it's the difference between like, you know, you can do, there's like the gig you get up where it's like, I know everything I'm saying and I'm going to say it and I know these beats land exactly the way they're similar to, I guess, to playing a song. It's like, I know
like
when I hit this sick fucking riff, everyone in the crowd's going to be like, woo! It's similar to that.
You know, Conrad.
You know what I mean? Music guy.
Yeah.
But that's different when you get up and you're just like, no, I'm not going to just default into press play, go. I'm going to be in this room with these people and whatever happens is an organic kind of response to this situation. And it can never be like this again.
But does Sydney music scene allow you to do that?
Music's different.
No, but I'm asking.
We've had like some incredible, most of our good jams come when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And we have to like quickly just sort something out to kill time while something technical is sorted. And it's sometimes I just wish that we had usually like if we're rehearsing we can record that, but did you just squeeze the pig?
Ben is holding the comfort pig.
Oh yeah. But it's those are great and those are really good specifically because they're for that moment.
Because you're creating to create. That's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to now do. And it's something that I've wanted to do for the last 15 years of stand-up, and I feel like I'm only just now got the balls to actually do it. To just get up and just be like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And again, to back to that thing of like trying to replicate that creativity you have as a child. I was never funnier than when I was in high school shooting my mouth off and I was backed into a corner and I had to out-funny my way out of getting beaten up. And I feel like if I can replicate that on stage, where it's like, you know, I kind of know what I'm going to say, but I don't really, but I got to because there's a lot of people staring at me, and if I'm not funny, they're going to hate me.
It's like that Bill Burr bit with where the audience hates all the comedians at the Philadelphia
gig.
Philadelphia
it's
show.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
But the crowds love to get the shit kicked out. They fucking love it. If you can get that balance right, there's no greater trick than calling the audience a pack of disgusting cunts and having them love you for it.
They have to like you first.
They have to like you first, but if you can, it's a wonderful trick. My favorite is getting angry.
It's very satisfying because you feel like a kid who got away with like so something. Good. Yeah, you feel cheeky. Like you're like, I can't believe I got to call you that. And you're laughing still.
My favorite.
How often do you guys improvise on stage? Like how often does that happen?
Like Rich in Your Mind?
Yeah.
It used to be a lot more, like it was a lot looser when we started out. And then now it's like, I think there's, you know, there's songs with bits of it, but it's pretty.
There's certain moments where you have an idea
like set and kind of, you know.
How long have you guys worked together?
Me and Rich?
Yeah.
Ages.
See, that's amazing. Because isn't the whole thing with bands that they like break up and then get back
like
together?
Just a lovely human. So like we don't get to hang out that much anymore. Like, but we still just, you know, we're like bros. You know, like
we're like soulmates.
Heterosexual life partners.
Yeah. Well, he's genuinely just like a good guy. Like he's like we've been friends since we became friends in like year 11. So basically a mutual friend who used to go to his high school came to my high school and we became friends. And then I sort of met all these, you know, Richard and some other people. And, you know, and then my second share house sort of in my early 20s, I moved in with him and another friend and we started making music together. But we already kind of liked each other because he was making sort of his little weird homemade albums and I'd made my funny dance music and we were kind of like, oh, I like you. You like me. You make weird stuff just for the hell of it, you know? Like,
I think that's quite impressive that you guys have worked together for that long and like are still so affectionate because seriously, like most people I know in bands are like, we got rid of the fucking drama. Like it's like ragey.
Well, like most people in every after a few
No, but the
years.
difference is like unless you're in like a comedy troupe, you don't get it because you are your entire
no, I've
creative
worked
output
with someone else. I get it.
Oh, you get it. Yeah. But your entire creative output in that form is tied to these other people. You can't just be like, I'm going to go do a stand-up set now, you know? I can't fucking go and play drums up there by myself.
But I think,
that's so hard, having to trust that many other people. I don't think I'd be good at that.
It's fucking terrible. And that's why bands, like, it's surprising that Richard in Your Mind, like, that's a good length. What is it, like 10 years or so that it's been going?
More. We started in 2006.
I would have been dancing at your gigs around that time.
Yeah.
Me and Mads used to go all the time. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Just playing your first album before, and I was like, it takes me back.
Like, that's the thing, like, I don't...
We used to listen to it road tripping, I think, in Adelaide of all places. But
that's really lovely.
Oh, it straight up takes me back. I was singing, it was embarrassing. It's great.
But it's not like, but you were mentioning, you guys have stayed together because you guys get along and he's a lovely guy. But also, I wouldn't say that that's the only...
Well, I was actually going to say, I think the main reason is we've been relatively unsuccessful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, had the band sort of done really well, then you might start having arguments, you know? But if you're not, like, really making any money off it, like, if, you know, like...
If it's not fun, there's no point continuing.
Yeah. I mean, like, there've definitely been bits where I, like probably more so me, have been kind of not enjoying it because... You know, just for one reason or another, but I'm probably like the moodier one out of the two of us.
Oh, there's been plenty of times.
You don't strike me as a moody guy at all.
I know, it's so funny.
I think like both of us just genuinely like making music and just creating stuff. And he's just like a really creative guy, and I guess I'm pretty creative as well. Like,
I think there's some people where it's just like a few of our friends are like this, where it's like, you know, they can't not be making something. And it doesn't matter if there's an audience for it. It doesn't matter if, you know. And that's
but Ben, you're not that different. Like,
no, I think I am.
Yeah, I think I'm similar too. I need to be doing something.
No, I think I'm the opposite of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've realised that about myself recently. Yeah, but like sporadically. I don't have that. I draw a bit, but I don't have that like, I've got to get home and draw.
Yeah,
like
same.
It's just like, and I used to...
I go through phases.
Yeah, and I used to beat myself up about that, and then I'm actually comfortable with like, nah, you know, it's fine. I actually, most of the time I just prefer to read other people's books or...
I feel like I need to be making stuff. I mean, even if it's like sewing because I sew or like knitting or
it's actually good to do different things to like your field as well, you know, like to keep it fresh because you can get just, you know, I get sick of music. Like I haven't even really been listening to music lately, like, but
what do you do when you're not like, what's your creative outlet when you're not playing music?
I went through a little phase of doing some like collages and stuff like that, and
like cut out collage.
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
Just, like, it's fun, and I'll probably do it again. But I don't know, like
I toyed with buying a 1,000-piece Lego set recently. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just build some Lego. Maybe
I bought a puzzle.
Yeah, puzzle. Why not?
And I was so happy about it, though.
Yeah. So both of these things you're saying, me and my partner have gone through various phases. So we actually went through a Lego phase a few years ago, and like. Built a bunch of Lego and we were doing collages and a puzzle phase and like
I've become this baby's gonna be happy.
Yeah,
all this Lego already.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I had so much when I was little though, and my mum like donated it to charity and.
So no, that's good.
It is really good, but
probably for kids whose parents do not give them Legos.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it is nice.
I've recently become a big board game guy.
Oh, I love board games.
I never thought that would happen to me.
Ticket to Ride. Does anyone play Ticket to Ride?
No,
I don't know.
Why? Is it Beatles thing?
No, sorry, you go.
No.
Oh no, like
I love Ticket to Ride.
I do enjoy board games when I play them, but I've definitely not like discovered any new games. Like I just like Trivial Pursuit.
I'm so into it. Ticket to Ride.
There's so many sick games, man. I've got a board game version of the you know the John Carpenter film The Thing.
Yeah, I love that film.
Yeah, man, one of the best films. It's the board game version of that. So someone is secretly the Thing, and then you have to go on missions, and the Thing is sabotaging it the whole time. So
that's so fun.
Dude, if you have a few whiskeys, by the end, you've got 8 people just screaming at each other like, you're the fucking Thing! I know it's you! And it creates this giant... And then at the end, there's the big reveal and everything. But it's wonderful. But I never thought in my mid-30s that I would suddenly be like, no, board games is the direction.
Oh, I love board games.
Yeah, really
like,
good.
I've been getting like way into it.
Why do you hate them, Sean?
I don't know. It's just such a thing. It's just such a nothing thing to me. And I don't know. This is not like a...
You're misled.
How dare you?
It's not a criticism of it. It's
such a nothing thing. I'm not criticising it.
I'm just explaining the reasons why I haven't bothered to get into it. Whenever anyone's like, oh, let's play a board game, I'm like, oh...
Well, you need the friends to be just as into it as you, right?
That's right.
And it needs to be simple. I'm not into the ones where they're like, okay, here's 45 minutes of rules. I'm not a fan. I like it, boom, like it's fun and it's easy and you can kind of escape. It's great.
Yeah.
I used to know this guy that was a fucking Warhammer dude.
It's too much.
Oh my God. And he brought me into he'd had a whole
So
room.
that's a proper game.
Well, like all the fucking
Is that like
orcs
painting
and-
lead figurines?
Yeah. But then they go into this whole thing, and he's like, come over and we'll play Warhammer. And I was like, yeah, why not? And he had this whole room, it was like the size of this studio, like just dedicated to Warhammer. Like giant fucking forts and mountains and orcs and everything. And he gives me the rules. And I'm like, when I'm moving my orc, I'm like, raw, like moving it along. And he's like, can you not do that? Can you not do that? And then he's like pulling out a tape measure to make sure that like I've moved 3 inches and not 3.5 inches. Like really, like when it's becoming this anal and you're sucking the joy out of every fucking moment, I can't. I don't understand.
That is weird.
No, I like it to be like fun and stupid and like, because my family, it's like any big occasion, it always ends with like board games. Usually Monopoly, but
Which ends in fights.
yeah,
It's a
and
terrible
or
game.
like,
It's funny,
or
like
Jenga or something stupid. But yeah,
Monopoly's
I love them.
so weird because like I feel like I'm good at it and I usually win, but you always feel fucking terrible because people get into it and they get upset.
No. wiped out.
The only good games are the rat fuck games. The games where you really
The rat
rat fucking
games?
people
Is that
the
what
best.
you just called it?
Yeah, rat fuck games. The ones where someone's building an empire and then at the last second you go, I'll take that. And then you watch their fucking devastation.
equivalent of the Mario Kart
It's so
illusion.
much fun. Yeah. It's so much fun. Just like,
That's funny you said that because I love like Nintendo games.
Oh, you're a video game guy?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore gamer.
What's your favorite console?
Oh, Nintendo like Switch and
Oh, Switch.
I like Nintendo in general. Like I like the colorful.
64 was my favorite console.
Yeah,
of all
well,
time.
I've just sold
Yeah.
my Nintendo 64, the Super Nintendo.
You're a
the
dumb
DS.
fuck. Why did
Yeah.
you sell that?
Because I had to get rid of all this shit.
Well, you're not gonna like.
Dude,
I'm never gonna plug
I
it
would
in.
have bought your 64 off you.
Oh, maybe not for as much as this guy did.
How much did he pay?
180?
For just the console?
No, there's some games, but they weren't great games.
Some of the best days of my life. The Mario games, honestly, playing Majora's Mask and
Majora's
Ocarina of
Mask
Time.
is
So
like-
That's
fucking good, man.
I love Zelda, but that's the one I couldn't enjoy it because of the time element. And
No.
I found it so
Once
stressful.
once you get past that,
can't.
and it's like I think Majora's Mask, looking back on it, is like a work of genius.
Yeah,
like,
the whole-
I love Breath of the Wild. I think the newest one is easily the best one by far. Like
Wow.
I think it's the best game by far ever
Yeah.
made. Like
Do you know
it's
the best
just
ending to a game
beautiful.
ever was? Jen's like checked out completely.
Yeah,
Don't get me
sorry.
wrong, this is hot.
You know what the best Mario was? Did you guys ever play Mario Galaxy?
No,
I did play.
Yeah, I didn't get into it.
I loved
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy, but the ending was the most profound ending of anything I've ever experienced. So at the end of it, Mario wins.
Better than Mulholland Drive.
Well, Mulholland Drive is pretty. Do you watch Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Oh, do you like the new Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Isn't it just the fucking
loved it.
greatest?
The only thing I just didn't like the songs.
No, I like the songs.
Yeah, I just wish
But
they
I-
left them out.
I know what you
like
mean.
A couple of them were okay, but apart from that, it
Did
was
you
so
like the music to the original Twin Peaks?
like the cheesy music.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best.
I loved the new series though. I loved that it felt more like Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway kind of Lynch than
well,
Twin
where it's
Peaks.
like it's deliberately set up to make you feel on edge and like you don't know
and
what's
it just
happening.
looked amazing. Like that crazy episode, like episode 8. That was just.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
8.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it?
yeah.
That was like the best thing on TV ever.
Well, go.
No, I just want to link it very quickly back to board games. So, because my family don't play the complicated, annoying ones because my nieces and nephew are into board games. So it's always really cute stuff like 5-second rule.
Oh, 5-second rule. I played that. That was really fun.
Thank you. It's
Yes.
really fun. You can drink with it. It's awesome. Anyway,
You can play it with your nieces and nephews
No.
and drink with
well,
it.
there's a kids one. Yeah, mate. Fucking get fucked up. But so my niece got given for her birthday the Game of Life. Yeah. And my brother-in-law was like, do you know what how you win the game of life? I'm like, no, what is it? And he's like, you win by getting the most money.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
That's
it.
life, kids.
This is like a game aimed at a 5-year-old.
Yeah, wow.
And if you have the most money, you win the game of
Elbow
life.
your friends in the face. Just get
like-
that money.
And he was like, how fucked is this? I was like,
It's like,
get
push
rid
your
of that
granny down the
game.
stairs.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so fucked up. I just wanted to share that.
Well,
No, but sorry, let's go back to Nintendo.
Oh,
No,
Galaxy. I got to say how Galaxy ends. So it's this amazing ending where Mario wins, but then he dies and he wakes up in something akin to heaven. And he's in heaven with all of his former enemies. And they all form this like circle where they're holding hands. And he's informed by some presence, which you could only assume is God, that, you know, he fought the good fight, but really he fought the fight to gain the realization that there is no good and evil. And that good and evil are just two sides of the same coin. And dude, it was like I was like in like real fucking like
Bowser
mushroom
had a really
land
tough
in-
childhood. And
Yeah.
just needs
And it
some
was just this thing of
understanding.
like, you know, Bowser was just a manifestation of the evil that exists in you, Mario, and we're all actually one. And they all just dance together in heaven and the game
great.
ends. And it was like the most profound,
I'm gonna
beautiful
watch that
message.
on YouTube tomorrow.
Wonderful.
I think.
I'm probably butchering it through my fucking drug out of brain.
I want to see what it was. No, but with games, I think it's always Mario Kart and Smash Brothers with friends. There's nothing that gets more heated. You do have to be skilled, but it's the chaos element of things going wrong, and that's what I enjoy. The fact that the equal playing field.
Then you would enjoy some board games because there's a few of the board games we play at home it's very skill based, but it's also total fucking roll of the dice luck, and you can be like
most of them are a combination.
Yeah, we play it's a great card game, Monopoly deal. So it's Monopoly with all the boring bits taken out, and rounds only go for 10 minutes. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It's like a quick card game.
It's brilliant. And it's the kind of game where you can be like dominating for 2/3 of the game, and then within 3 cycles just be ruined, and you know, no properties, no money, and it's just like. It's a great game for that, the chaos, you know, and the arguing.
Short attention spans for children of today. Like us.
Are you obsessed with that stuff?
No,
You got a
not
child
at
coming
all.
into the world? Are you plugged into the state of things?
Best if you're not.
I mean, I like check the Guardian every day, but I don't like.
It's kind of rough, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever get that thing where you like, because that's the first thing I do in the morning is like, before I've properly woken up, I'll reach for my
Phone.
to, you know.
I feel like most people, that's what they do.
But it's that
right?
like, it's
kind
that
of-
real anxiety as the page is loading. It's like, oh, what's it going to be? And then
I-
there's mornings where it's like, oh, nothing really terrible happened while I was asleep.
I don't feel that.
There's not a picture of a mushroom cloud on the main page.
I don't feel that at all. And I don't like reading the news because
No,
it's
it's
always
awful.
about another psycho who's killed their wife. And I just have zero
Yeah.
Or
interest in
fucking
engaging
everyone
in it.
else. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, no. I have no interest in it.
Do you say that stuff doesn't weigh on you?
I mean, I think it has, and I've probably eased off it, and yeah, I'm just not paying attention. And it seems to just be the same old shit.
Yeah.
Well, they say that people who don't really follow the news are happier.
Of course.
Much happier.
Well, because it's different, because there's that part of you that's like, oh, it's really irresponsible not to follow the news. You need to be an engaged citizen. You need to know what's
Yeah.
going on. But the difference is, like,
I don't need to know some fucknut
exactly.
in Bathurst was iced up and stole a car and killed 2 people. I don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
need to know that.
Or just the pornography, the aggressive kind of ubiquity of the news, where it's like it's no longer enough to just read the paper. You've got to have fucking updates every 5 seconds, letting you know what everything Trump did or whatever. But also the pornography of it. Did you see that Daily Telegraph front page about a week ago? That girl that died in a car, and you know, yeah, it's tragic. A young girl died in a car accident, but let's face it, if she wasn't hot, she wouldn't have been on the fucking front page of the Daily Telegraph.
Yeah.
The only reason that it was a tragedy for the editors of the Daily Telegraph is because she was pretty. But they published a Snapchat photo of her taken literally seconds before she
it's
fucking,
fucking
you know,
horrible.
and
That's fucked up.
it's just like, what are we doing? Why is this news? This picture of this young girl and then seconds from death. Like, this is just like, you know, but I think people really feel as though that they are consuming the news of the day, as though it's not just a fucking awful thing that
I've
happened.
stopped reading the Herald.
I saw it the other day, and it was actually just a Harvey Norman ad.
Oh, really?
You had to peel it away to get to the news.
I was telling these guys last week that I'm about to move into an apartment, and I'm not going to have the internet in the apartment.
This is not
At
going
all.
to happen.
It is going to... Cool, man. Thanks for telling me that my life isn't going to work for me. Thank you very much.
Your life will be fabulous, but you'll get the
I
I won't get the fucking... Why would I want the fucking internet in the house?
because you're addicted.
No, I'm not. Well, that's exactly why I don't want it in the house anymore, because I don't want it. It's awful. And I'm actively trying to distance my... You guys would be very proud of me. These guys are always giving me shit that I'm way too obsessed with the environmental situation. That
No, I
Devon's
don't think
currently
you're. I
under.
don't think you're way too obsessed. I think you're appropriately obsessed.
Thank you, Sean. Suck it, Jen.
I think you're too obsessed. There's only so many times you can be told the world's going to end.
But
You know what
I
I mean? It gets
actively...
fucking boring.
Anyway, the UN released another thing recently, and I actively, a friend of ours, former Oinker, Ange Lavoie-Pierre, did a podcast about the extinction wave that's happening, sent me a link, and I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm tapping out on this one. I can't.
I had to tap out.
I can't.
I had to tap out of climate change news, which is terrible because then it's just being essentially being in denial of it.
Dude, I started watching that new Attenborough series on Netflix. I got halfway through
It's
the first
not
episode
being-
and I was like, I can't.
It's not being in denial of it. It's doing what you can, but also utilizing what tools you need to get through your day and be a good human.
It's also that
and
thing.
if it means taking in that stuff and thinking, in Ben's case, fuck it all, burn it all down, or in whatever
I don't
case,
actually think that.
you know what I mean. And doesn't it bring you comfort in the end to think about the fact that we're just humans and we don't even know why we're here?
Yeah, of course.
So there
little
you
bit.
go.
Hugely
We don't even know
comforting.
why we're here.
Yeah, we're here to make
It's
fucking
exciting.
art, man.
We're here to make music and comedy and pods.
Pods.
Do you find any inherent meaning in all this?
But this chat,
No, not this chat. This chat's an inconsequential part of our day, but not everyone's day, but like life. Like, do you have any faith or religion or anything?
no, like I don't like. I just don't think I've ever thought that there needs to be meaning or anything. Then, I don't know.
That makes sense to me.
No, that's lovely.
Infuriates Benny.
It doesn't infuriate me. I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can avoid not thinking about it. Like, I wish I couldn't think about it, but it's just like
Yeah.
constant.
I waver between you and you.
Yeah,
This is
right.
You are the two like angels and devils on the shoulder. I'm not
Who's
saying
the angel? Who's the devil?
Yes,
Who's the devil?
Two people in robes on my
Like,
shoulder.
We're all gonna die.
I obviously care about humanity in the world and all this stuff and it's just like what can we do apart from sort of try our best to push the world in the right direction. We get to vote every now and again. We can sort of try to have gentle conversations with people who you might think are not seeing things in a nice way or something. But it's so hard to like, how do you do like the big changes the world needs to?
No, you can't.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
find history comforting,
History is very comforting.
which sounds weird, but I find,
I find thousands of years of death and genocide comforting.
I do because it's human. We kill each other, we die, we
It just
have
put-
babies.
yeah.
I find it very comforting.
The cycle.
Yeah, and the fact that we are none the wiser than we were a
Do you think,
million
like-
years ago.
Yeah.
Like
What you
not
were
a
saying
million years
before,
ago,
like
you know what I mean.
not getting the internet, like I think if you can do that, that's really good because I mean, maybe it's just this is what heaps of people in their 30s kind of think and say, but like there is that feeling like, maybe we were all happier before we were like,
We
We were.
We were totally happier.
100%
yeah.
happier.
But I mean,
I
it's
was
funny though,
happier.
because then there's like the younger generation who can't even compare it and used to it. And so like they can't say that. But I do, like, part of me thinks like maybe like I feel like people are getting pretty exhausted with a lot of this
Everyone's
stuff. Like,
exhausted.
and naturally sort of tapping out a bit more, like,
Yep.
with social media, I think people are using it a bit less. I don't know.
I think it's definitely trending
And it's
towards
sort
that.
of- and I wonder if the news and the way people are consuming everything will kind of ease off a bit. I don't know.
I feel
was funny when-
sorriest for the teenagers. Sorry to interrupt, Ben, but the teenagers, and I know we need to wrap up soon, but the teenagers of today, they were the guinea pigs and they were the ones who got it the most.
Yeah.
I feel like I escaped it as a lady who's 35. Like I sort of was at the end of it where Facebook was a thing, but nothing else was. Teenagers who are teenagers right now are in the experiment.
Well, and they know no difference.
Of what happens, when you wake up and you just have a fucking onslaught of this shit until you go to bed.
We're also so lucky to have been there in the sort of that wonderful early internet phase with like MySpace and even before
anonymity.
that, like ICQ.
Yeah, ICQ.
Oh my God,
like
hell
Napster, like, you know, like,
That and smoking in clubs. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you out there. Back when Sydney had a nightlife, I was into it.
Yeah.
But the thing of like, you know,
I do want to say, I do think that there is still like a great music scene in Sydney, and there's good shit on.
There is.
You can go out on a Tuesday and see a great gig. Like, you know.
I'm on the loss of
that's
Oxford
absolutely
Street.
true. Yeah, and also, this hasn't been raised, but there's often this common trope that people make shit music nowadays. And it's like,
no, they don't.
Yeah, no, but nobody said that. But it's insane when people say that. It's just like, are you?
Well, there's shit music from every era.
But that's also the same thing as there's like comedians aren't funny anymore. The guy on Facebook who videos himself falling into a cactus is funny.
Yeah. And that's all I'm going to be missing out on when I don't have the internet at home.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, how?
And obviously all of your friends.
Oh, well, but
I'm kidding.
People talk about it as though it's like, if you don't have the internet, like, how will you watch Netflix? It's like, I'm fine not watching Netflix. I've got all the movies I love on Blu-ray. I've got a hard drive full of shit. I'm fine. I'm good. And it's this thing of like, just because you don't have the internet in your home doesn't mean that the internet isn't everywhere else you go.
Yeah.
So there's still access to the internet. It's just, then I feel like, for me personally, and I feel like this will become a thing, I feel like we are all exhausted. It is an assault. It is inescapable. It is gamed to addict you. And for those of us who do remember what it was like to be able to sit down and read 50 pages of a book without your head going, blah, 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 I wonder if there's a fucking notification. Like this constant distraction. I personally feel like I need one place in the world where that is off limits.
Yeah.
And I will check my email tomorrow when I'm at the cafe or when I'm at work. But I need to not wake up reaching for that fucking phone anymore. I'm done. Like I can't cope anymore.
France last year or this year made it basically it protects workers from not having to access their emails after their work hours.
I think it's very bad. It's very bad for all of us,
because now people,
man.
I get a call or like an email most weekends.
It's terrible. And there's just no one is not no one.
Hey, we're in a moment right now, Benny.
Well, you just checked your fucking phone 2 minutes ago, so let's fucking rein it in, please. But I feel like everyone, for the most part, is
the time.
supremely. There's a clock right there.
I know.
Everyone's very distracted, and I feel like it's very hard for most people. And it's through no fault of our own. We're all just computers and monkeys who are easily exactly. And you know, it's concentration is a difficult enough thing at the best of times, let alone with the entire world in your pocket going hey all the time.
I'm considering getting rid of my Spotify account now because I'm finding that with the amount of choice I can't make a decision.
Me too, actually.
And
that's which is terrible because I want to be able to seek out bands that I'm interested in, but that's been my justification for a long time, and I still don't seem to. But I feel like ever since I got Spotify, like 4 years ago, my music listening habits have gotten stonewalled, or
So I have Spotify, but I hate them. Like, I think it's awful, but I keep it because just of a few friends will share stuff, and especially one friend like sends me stuff a lot, and it's very often really good, and it's
very useful, and so that's why I'm conflicted about it. I haven't deleted it
but
yet.
you have to do a cost benefit analysis. It's like, yes, there's the odd good show on Netflix. I really enjoyed Wild Wild Country, but that was a year and a half ago, and nothing that Netflix has made in the last year and a half has made me go, this is awesome. But the amount of nights I've spent sitting at the Netflix menu, staring at the infinite choice, going, I just don't know what to do, and feeling just crushed under the weight of choice. The human brain can only comprehend 7 options at once before it short circuits. That's why when you go to Messina and you look at more than 7 flavors, you can't decide because your brain just starts.
Ice cream.
Yeah, well, you know, ice cream's my big one.
That's
I have an existential crisis every time I go to Messina. But I think
they had this flavor that me and my partner just loved, and I think it's gone. And it was easily their best flavor.
What was it?
The pear and rhubarb one.
Oh, that's fucking great, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had salted coconut and mango?
No.
Amazing.
But I can't. Yeah, like I've gone into 2 shops to get that pear and rhubarb, and it's just not there.
It must have been a popular one. It must have been you and your partner keeping the pear and rhubarb boat afloat.
Damn,
If you're looking for a good combo, salted caramel and white chocolate paired with pistachio,
great.
perfect double feature.
I also just love like a mango whisper.
Mango
Like
whisper is really
classic.
good with the macadamia nuts.
Either. Yeah. I'd go so
I
far
love
to say
ice cream
it's,
so much.
It's
Have
better
you
than
had
a
the
mango.
dairy-free Ben and Jerry's? It's really good. You should get the 7-layer coconut bar.
I'm not. I feel like I'm not a coconut guy. So,
Oh man, I'm the biggest coconut.
Big
I'm a
coconut
coconut
guy.
gal.
Cocoa Quench. Do you drink Cocoa Quench?
I'd never heard of it.
Great drink.
They had Turkish Delight ice creams for
Nah.
a while that were amazing. You'd think they'd be disgusting.
I
They were
don't like
fucking
Turkish
awesome,
Delight.
and I can't find them.
I have a question for you, Conrad.
yeah.
You guys did like an album. Richard and Mine did an album like every year, or like not every year, but you did a lot of albums in like the space of like 7 years, and then there was a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
What was the gap? Like, was that just you guys taking your time, or just having a bit of a break?
Do you mean for the last one to the
yeah,
one
before
before?
Super Love Rain? Yeah.
Well, Richard became a dad.
Oh,
Like,
in that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But also, like, we sort of had like a semi-settled band for a long time, and then Pat. So, I feel like
Was Spod part of the semi-settled band?
not really. He was like he's like our friend and like one of my best friends and stuff. But he was almost more like a mixer or something.
Right.
Like he'd come in at the end and kind of help us like finish it. But no, it was like Pat, who was our neighbor when we started the band, who played drums kind of from My Volcano to Ponderosa. And so he was sort of the third. Like, I feel like us 3 were sort of the heart of the band, but he moved to New York. And
Right.
so that's sort of the lineup on the last one's a little bit different. And like in a way, like it was like good because it went a bit back to me and Rich like when we started it. But it's, but we had an amazing drummer join us who's like crazy good. But, it's whenever the personnel changes, the vibe changes and the way you work. And I guess just getting older, you don't get together as much. So things just take longer,
Well, I was thinking this about the difference between like music and comedy is like you can, obviously a comedian, the only thing stopping them from doing stand-up is either a decision to stop doing stand-up or dying.
Themselves.
So
Leaving the house.
but with a band, it's like, it's people moving, it's people like, there's all these different phases of things happening. Like the idea that it's so rare for a band to stay together for a very long time.
The collaborative nature of things would, just me and Jen collaborating on this podcast has led to a lot of conflict.
Oh my God.
And it's a fucking, all it is.
You've just got to like force yourself to do it to make time and stuff because it's so hard when you're a grown up. When you're in your 20s, you don't care about being poor and barely working and spending all your time doing the fun stuff, and then you kind of get older and it's like a bit sad if you're like that, Like,
isn't it? It's so funny when you're young. You're like, it'll be so sad if I ever fucking gave up this lifestyle, and you don't realize on the other end of it, it's like, nah, man, it's completely the reverse.
Well, it's horrible to say, but it's lovely to have money.
Well, yeah, it is. It was just lovely to be not
and
fucking
you can
struggle.
still make stuff.
Yeah, and how do you achieve that? By having money.
Yeah. Well, like,
you don't have to have a lot of money, but you have to have enough to like, hey, I can buy food.
Well, I don't
dinner
work full time now, but I can survive. So that's.
But that's
something.
Nice, right?
Yeah, that's great. Look, but
That's better than, like-
but I've never not worked full time until the last few years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what point I'm making with this. Point is that you can still create and earn money.
Yeah, of course.
The other thing with that though is we did actually make heaps of stuff in that gap. Like we definitely. There was kind of like a whole other thing we made that we could have put out, and there's so much unreleased stuff. Like
it's crazy.
It's more just like actually getting to that focused point where you sort of go, okay, this is a thing. That just didn't happen for ages. Yeah. And we played live heaps a lot in like 2015 and 16, I think.
Do you know what your child is going to be?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Oh.
Are you excited?
Yeah, totally.
When's it due?
Like,
It. When is it due? When is he due?
End of the month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So life will become very different.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll change? Do you think that'll inspire some new direction in music?
I don't know. I mean, I get the feeling I won't have time for it for a while. I don't know. But it's funny though. Like I've kind of like, I feel like I've always wanted to be a dad.
What music are you going to introduce your kid to?
I don't know. I mean, I guess at the start, whatever. You can just play whatever.
But if you
I feel
ideally, what do you want to when he's got the capacity to take it in?
Well,
like
just what we listen to. Like, I feel like me and my partner have good taste and heaps of records, and it's all good.
Kids often like the Beatles. I know the Beatles have come up a few times.
Kids love Ween. Kids love Ween.
Yeah.
They don't understand the depth of it. They hear the silliness of it.
I think it's the same as the Beatles, really. Like, they're just really melodic bands.
Beautiful. And kids love Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
They love Frank Zappa.
I fucking hate Frank Zappa. But
why do you hate Frank Zappa?
It's hard to articulate why you hate someone.
His shtick, he just seems negative.
You don't like a guy singing like this.
Yeah.
I can see why people don't like it.
Maybe like
9-minute drum solo with a guy going.
Yeah. It's kind of like wacky and complicated. I don't know. Maybe there's an album that I haven't heard yet that's good.
He's got like 75
Yeah,
albums.
exactly. I don't know. I really haven't tried to get into what I've heard. I've not like. But I was going to say about kids and music. We were down in Melbourne a while ago, and Brent Spod, he's like, him and his partner have a little baby, and we put on like Aphex Twin, the Cheetah EP, which is a kind of recentish EP. And it's kind of sad because Brent was there, but his partner Julia wasn't there. But little Vivian, the little baby, danced for the first time. So she had kind of just started standing up, and she started like kind of in rhythm with the song. Dancing.
So
and we were like, oh my God. And it was like, it's so them that our little baby is so fucking cool that the first music it's danced to is like Aphex Twin.
As a gag one time, I was hanging out with a bunch of kids and they were like, put some music on. As a gag, I put on Chosen Lords by Aphex Twin, which is extremely obnoxious. And they fucking went off. They were like dancing to this crazy, and they like Square Pusher as well. Square Pusher and Aphex Twin. It's really strange.
Just intricate electronic music.
Man.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think kids just like it or they don't.
All I listened to until I was 20 was Broadway show tunes. That's it.
Really?
Just Broadway show tunes. I love it. Or Bette Midler songs. I really like Wind Beneath Your Wings.
He does love
it
them.
explains why you project your voice so well.
He really does love them.
I was the other night I was singing the score from Little Shop of Horrors in the bathroom while I was shaving, and I was like really getting into it, and I heard someone over the fence go, "Shut the fuck up!"
Just sing louder.
That's great.
Conrad, where can people find you on the internet?
I've got a Bandcamp.
Are you on Spotify?
Oh, yeah. I've got my own music is completely unknown, really.
So
but
it
is on there. It is on there. But and there's Rich in Your Mind.
What's it under?
It's under Conrad Greenleaf. I've also got a new band that I've just started with some friends that's done like 3 shows so far, which is called Stressless, and that'll come back later. And
are you gigging anywhere? Have you got gigs booked in?
Well, I mean, because I'm going to be a dad soon, we're not playing for a while. But but yeah, we did 3 gigs and they went great, and it's heaps of fun, and it's like 2 boys, 2 girls, all of us singing, kind of rock and roll.
Great.
Awesome.
It's fun, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for chatting to us at
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Conrad.
Wait, what's the word?
Thanks,
what's the
guys.
Word? Do we have a word?
Yeah,
we didn't do that for Alice.
All right, no more words for Oink Time.
Music.
Oh yeah,
music.
you theme the shows.
Fame. Fame.
Hey, yay.